There are very few franchises out there that have the sheer amount of villains that Star Wars has. And I'm not talking like one episode TV show villains that only show up once and you never see them again. I'm talking about awesome, reputable, legendary villains that have become iconic in their own right. But just because someone's a villain, that doesn't mean that they're scary. There are plenty of villains out there who are straight up lame. Like, alright bro, I get it, you work for Jabba the Hutt, but this is kind of embarrassing for you. So today, I'm gonna be ranking Star Wars villains based on how scary they are. You might remember that I did this in my last video, which you should definitely go watch if you haven't yet, but only after you finish this one. Don't worry, they're not chronological, so it doesn't matter what order you watch them in. In that video, I only got through the first 10 villains that I deemed worthy, so today I'm gonna finish the job with the last 10. Here's the tier list we're gonna rank these fellas on. The highest one is Nightmare Fuel, which are the villains that would make you pee your pants if you saw them in person. Like, this is as scary as it gets. Next is Spooky Terrifying, which are definitely still scary, but you probably won't have a heart attack. And then it's Please Call My Mommy next, which is like, alright, you're not that scary, but just scary enough that my mother should know that her son might be a little creeped out. Fourth is Have You Tried Saying Boo? Like, maybe if you put in a little more effort or dressed up like a job application or something, you could be spooky. But as of right now, get a job, little bro. This whole villain shtick's not for you. Fifth one is just not scary. This one is exactly what it sounds like. This villain is just not scary or intimidating in any way at all. And finally, we have This Is Pathetic. Like, let's pack it up, big dog. Clearly your skills would be better suited elsewhere. So that's the tier list, and now let's see where our villains fall. Without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we have the king of the clankers himself, General Grievous. And let's start off with the obvious point, that name is so freaking tough. It just sounds scary to say. Grievous, Grievous, Grievous. But then you look at the man himself, and it gets even better. Not only is he made almost entirely of metal, but he's like over 7 feet tall. When he stands next to LeBron, LeBron has to tilt his head up to look him in the eyes. That's crazy. Height aside, the metal frame is terrifying. You would never, ever be able to hurt this guy unless you hit him with the old Three Stooges eye poke or something like that. Even that might not work though, because his eyes are scary too. It's like an alligator. These are low-key the nail in the coffin for his creepy look. The only part of him that's still a living thing, and they look like they shoot daggers at you. Well, maybe his voice is kind of goofy. You know, George Lucas couldn't make him too insane, so he had to nerf him a little bit somewhere. That would only make the most. Time to abandon ship. Dang it, why his voice gotta be so creepy too? That's like a metallic rasp or something. So freaking spooky. Imagine him busting out a tune. Peach, understand. I'm gonna love you till the very end. So let's recap. He's over 7 feet tall. He's made entirely of metal. His eyes are like an animal's. His voice would literally give Arnold goosebumps. I literally don't know if they can make him any scarier if they try. Oh, come on, 4 arms? Alright, I've seen enough. Put him in Spooky Terrifying. I've seen him enough. This is insane. There's no way that, no. Don't you dare. Don't you freaking dare. And he can crawl on the floor like a spider. He can crawl on the floor like a spider. Fine. I see now that I have no choice. To contrast that, up next we have Captain Phasma. Now, don't get me wrong, Phasma looks kinda cool. This chrome armor is pretty tough, definitely a little more intimidating than normal Stormtrooper armor. Other than that though, there really isn't much to go off of. Let's go over what we see her do in the movie she's in. She tells Finn to go clean his armor. She's kinda in the background when Hux gives his speech. If you look closely, you can see her.
Hey, that's my shoulder. What? Right there.
She gets thrown into a garbage compactor. She fights Finn in The Last Jedi, and Loki gets styled on, and that's kind of it. That's basically all we see of her. Now, I'm not saying that she was wasted in the movies, but I am saying that there's nothing that scary about her. She looks cool, and I do think this metal stick she carries around is tough, but she's very easily neutralized by a mere threat of a blaster to the head. I'll throw her in Have You Tried Saying Boo? I feel like that's pretty fair. Coming in third, we have Emperor Palpatine, the first Sith of the video, and let's be clear here, he's a scary boy. Now, to be fair, in Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, he definitely had aura, but he wasn't particularly creepy. What really pushed him over the edge was, first of all, becoming the Emperor of the Galaxy. That definitely does give him an edge. I mean, that would certainly give a fella some intimidation. But also becoming insanely scarred and deformed. I mean, holy cow, this guy aged 50 years in 1 minute. It somehow becomes even worse another 20 years down the line. I mean, Emperor Palpatine in Return of the Jedi was actually terrifying. He looks way creepier here. even before the lightning, I will say that his hairline is clapped. I mean, holy cow. But it's actually a good thing, because it means that he can consistently wear this hood and cloak fit. And if anyone else were wearing them, it'd be kind of lame. Like, alright bro, you're not an anime villain, just go back to your mama's basement. But it turns out that when you're criminally scarred and you have these sunken yellow eyes, it's low-key very scary. It just is. Based solely off of his physical appearance, I'd probably already put him towards the top of the list. And then you remember what he can do. I mean, not to glaze, but Palpatine in his prime was moving like King Von, for crying out loud. I mean, this guy was not to be messed with. All I'm saying is name a villain in the Clone Wars that Palpatine didn't absolutely wreck at some point. This guy was a beast. All that being said though, I think if I saw him on the street, I would definitely be scared, but not terrified beyond belief. It's kind of like I said about Count Dooku in the first video. Sidious is just an old dude. He just is, which takes away from his freakiness a little bit. There's no way around it. It just does. But he is scarier than Dooku for sure. I mean, Dooku was just too dignified, and Palpatine here looks like he got into a fight with a blender a few years back and lost miserably. I think I have to put him in probably, it's either Spooky Terrifying or Please Call My Mommy. And I think I have to go with Spooky Terrifying. I can't rob the man of his fear factor. This is a scary villain. Next up on the list, we have Supreme Leader Snoke, a man who was meant to rival Sidious as a villain in the sequels. The guy behind Kylo Ren's turn to the dark side and the rise of the First Order. The guy that this random YouTuber back in 2016 had me believing was actually Mace Windu returned as a villain. Okay, this is actually crazy. No shot whatsoever that Disney of all corporations was gonna take one of their few black main characters, literally whitewash him, and turn him into a villain. That was just never gonna happen. But you see what I'm getting at here. Snoke is perhaps one of the most overhyped and yet under-delivered villains in all of Star Wars. Force Awakens had me believing that Snoke was gonna be so freaking lit you wouldn't believe it. I mean, this was Kylo Ren's master, and he was like 50 feet tall.
Are you serious right now, bro?
Alright, well, you know, he's still pretty big. I mean, look at his hand compared to Rey's face. Maybe he still will be a scary villain, despite all—
For the love of God! Please!
Look, these videos, the ranking the scariest villains videos, are impartial to the movies that these villains are from. They're not, I'm not telling you what movies are good and bad, but man, they did not want you to get invested in Snoke, that's for sure. They did not want you to care one iota. Like, in theory, the guy could have been super scary. He was big, scarred, nasty looking, and powerful, but they just wanted to crush him in front of you. Let me put it this way, Snoke had less screen time in the Star Wars franchise than Newt Gunray. And it's not like it was close. I mean, Snoke literally had 10 minutes total in both movies he was in. And yeah, sure, you could say that, oh, that's still more than Darth Maul had in The Phantom Menace, but come on, Darth Maul used those 6 minutes so well. I fully believe that this man was a demon after I watched this. Snoke could never, let's be honest here. But he is a scary looking guy. You know, if I saw him on the street, I'd probably want my mother to be alerted, so let's throw him in Please Call My Mommy. Next, we have Grand Moff Tarkin, and here's the thing. Grand Moff Tarkin has aura. Like, he looks kind of intimidating, but he's probably the oldest guy we have on this list. He's like someone's grandfather. The actor Peter Cushing literally wore slippers on set of A New Hope because the actual shoes hurt his feet. That's it. In his own words, they were uncomfortable. I'm not saying he's not tough, but I really do think if I saw him on the street, I wouldn't even feel a little bit intimidated. I mean, he's a good villain, don't get me wrong, but he's not a scary villain. As much as I respect this fella, I'm gonna put him in not scary. Now, I'm gonna level with you boys. I was not planning on including this next villain whatsoever. I mean, he didn't even cross my radar. But then I was looking at my comments section, you know, as a YouTuber does. And per usual, there were a very nice variety. There were a lot of really wholesome comments, a lot of really weird comments, a lot of really uncomfortable comments. But then there was this gem right here from Royal Guy 9100. And normally, I still probably wouldn't have done it. I mean, I'm not a puppet dancing on strings to my comments section. You're not marionettes moving me around. Oh, Jedwerd, do this. Come on. I'm a free thinker. I probably wouldn't have done it anyway. But then he you know, he won me over. He hit me with the pretty please, and I'm a sucker for a pretty please, boys. It was just too kind. I had to do it. So the next villain is BB-9E, the astromech from The Last Jedi. And normally, I ain't scared of no astromech. I firmly believe I could punt these things like a football if I had to. Probably break my toe. I mean, they're like a bowling ball, but still, I could punt them. However, I can't do that because I have played Battlefront 2 before.
For the love of God! For the love of God!
Next, we're at a villain who's kind of like Grand Moff Tarkin, very similar in fact, but somehow less scary. And that is General Hux from the sequel trilogy. But before we get to him, boys, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button if you're enjoying the video. Only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, and it would really help me out. Also, be sure to watch the first Ranking Scariest Villains video at the end of this video. There'll be a link right to it. I think you'll really enjoy it if you're liking this one. Be sure to check that one out. Thank you very much for the subscribe and for watching the other video. And now, let's go on to General Hux. Take all of Grand Moff Tarkin's aura that he gets from being old and delete it. Pretend that instead of old, he's a ginger. That's right, a ginger. Now, I am by no means saying that there's anything wrong with gingers intrinsically, but I am saying that it will be a cold day in hell before I consider a ginger scary. They just don't have that dog in them. On top of that, you add on the fact that he's low-key a total wuss. I mean, The Force Awakens made it seem like Hux was Space Hitler with this subtle speech he gave here. And then the guy killed like billions of people, which is definitely terrifying, not gonna lie. But in The Rise of Skywalker, then they decided to make him a traitor because...
I don't care if you win. I need Kylo Ren to lose.
Man, shut your...
Alright, bro, I was gonna put you a little higher, but then you switched up on the homies. Then you switched up on the boys. This is pathetic. Next up is Savage Opress, which first of all is a terrifying name that alone strikes fear. But let's consider the fact that the only reason Savage is scary in the first place is because he got Night Sister magic that made him a buff psycho. I mean, if I got that, I'm sure I'd also be equally scary, boys.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
Then again, just because he won the scariness lottery does not make him not scary. He's like 7 foot tall, he's built like a truck, and he kind of solos most of the characters in Star Wars that he ends up fighting. Plus, let's not forget the fact that he is just straight up ruthless. I mean, I'm thinking of that time that he wrecked those 2 Jedi in the Clone Wars. And what about the Toydarian King whose neck he snapped? If I saw him on the street, I'd be terrified, I think. There's literally nothing about this guy that isn't intimidating. I mean, he even has horns for crying out loud. Who the frick is an easygoing guy and has massive horns? I think I gotta put him in nightmare fuel. There's nowhere else. He's a demon. He's a demon. He's moving on demon time. Alright, I think I'm gonna catch some hate on this next one because, to be honest, I just don't know enough about him. I mean, I stopped watching Rebels after season 2, and frankly, just haven't gotten around to finishing it, which I know I'm basically on the intellectual level of a rock for pulling that one, but no matter how you slice it, I don't know too much about Grand Admiral Thrawn. I just don't.
You make me sick.
Leave me alone, please.
I haven't read the books, and I haven't seen him in Rebels, so all I know from him is the Ahsoka TV show. However, here's what I'm thinking. Thrawn's skill seems to mainly come from his intellect, from his ability to predict people and their actions, along with coming up with genius strategies. So I can see why he'd maybe be a feared opponent in the realm of like space battles. Like if you're a tactical general fighting him, then yeah, that'd be scary. But if I just saw him out and about, I don't think he'd be that intimidating. I'm just being honest. Like, yeah, I'm sure he's decent in a fight in the same way that Tony Stark would be decent in a fight without any of his tech, but just man to man, I low-key feel like I have to put him in not scary. However, he is blue with red eyes, which automatically makes him a little scarier. So based on that and just that, I'm bumping him up to have you tried saying boo? I know. Jedwerd, how can you do this? Thrawn is canonically like evil Napoleon, George Washington, and Flight Reacts rolled into one. Sorry, I just don't think he's that scary from what I've seen. Now, the Grand Inquisitor, on the other hand, is a villain who low-key high-key got screwed over heavy, because in Rebels, this guy was actually creepy. His head looked freaky, he had these sharp teeth. Man, all these villains with sharp teeth. In reality, it would suck so bad to have sharp teeth. You'd just be like cutting up your mouth every time you ate food because you'd just be slicing your tongue and your lips and your cheeks. It would be so annoying. But it does look really scary. The Grand Inquisitor was just tough. He had aura. He was a creepy looking fella. And then live action happened. They just made him look like a weirdo. Just a pasty, round-headed bum with goofy looking red stripes. And that's just talking about the way he looks. Let's not forget that they also made his character such a loser. I mean, look how Reva guts him here. Holy cow, way to make the guy the opposite of cool and intimidating. So I think if I was only going off the animated version, I'd honestly put him in spooky terrifying. But unfortunately, we are forced to look at the whole scope. And considering the live action version, why don't you go ahead and take a seat down a little lower for me there, buddy. Let's put you at please call my mommy. Alright. I've put it off for long enough. You guys deserve the truth. I've been dancing around it. Let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Darth Vader. Now, if we're being real, Darth Vader is overhyped. I mean, he's just a broken dude with no arms or legs, and that soundbox that Kanye made stronger off of strapped to his chest. Yeah, sure, his voice is cool, but let's be real here. He's probably, like, not scary to have you tried saying boo.
I want to help her out.
Speed, I'm watching the stream while you try not to laugh, bro. That's disrespectful as shit, bro.
You guys know I love my jokes, my little goofs. I mean, let's be real. This is Darth Vader we're talking about. There's no other villain in Star Wars, heck, in cinema, that is scarier. And you know what? To heck with it, I'm giving him his own tier, instant death, because he is just too scary. So this is the list, boys. Let me know what you think, and you need to watch the first part of this video right here. If you like this video, you'll love that one. I'm very proud of it. It's a great video, and it's crucial for the whole story. So check it out. Thanks for watching, boys. Have a good one. I'll see you later. Goodbye.